Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Black Hills Connection podcast. And today's special guest is Dustin with Black Hills Badges of Hope. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, so first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself and what kind of line of work and that kind of thing you're in.
So I'm a former law enforcement officer myself. I was a deputy sheriff with the Pennington County Sheriff's Office from 2005 to 2010.
Okay.
I currently work in emergency management at Monument Health. So it's my full-time job.
Okay.
Black Hills Badges for Hope is an all-volunteer organization. So, I'm the president, co-founder of Black Hills Badges for Hope. And so, everything's volunteer there. So it's kind of a full-time job with everything that we do. But it's really, kind of a side gig for me, I guess.
Okay, so you founded this nonprofit. Wow.
Yes.
So, how did that all derive?
So back in August 2nd, 2011, there was a tragic shooting here in Rapid City where 3 RCPD officers were shot. 2 of them died. One of them was my best friend, and the other one was my co-founder's best friend. And so when I moved back, I was living in Richmond, Virginia at the time. When I moved back from Richmond to the area in 2015, we were trying to figure out, what we could do to kind of keep their legacy alive and remember them. And so in 2017, we started our first golf tournament, which is the Fallen Officer Memorial Golf Tournament. And from there, it's just kind of exploded. That's kind of how Black Hills Badges for Hope was born. It was born out of a tragedy to try to keep the legacy alive, but do something positive for our, for our community.
Sort of in the phrase hope, sort of like in that sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, what year was that?
The shooting was in 2011. We were founded in 2017.
Okay, so it's been quite a while.
Yeah. We'll have our 10th annual Fallen Officer Memorial Golf Tournament this year.
Oh wow!
So we're actually going to do 2 tournaments this year because the people have spoken. Every year we do it. It's just a really fun tournament. Not a whole lot of seriousness behind it, other than we remember a fallen officer from our community or from a surrounding community, but it's there's mulligans and there's magic putts and you can pay to move up on a hole. So a lot of people have always like, oh, we want something a little more serious, and so we're going to do a more serious tournament this year. We're going to give the people what they want. Because I'm a believer in democracy.
Okay.
So the people have spoken.
Okay, so when is that then?
So we're going to have our annual Fallen Officer Memorial Tournament is every July. It's the second Saturday of July.
Okay.
And then our Badges for Hope Open is what it's going to be called. Is going to be in September 11th, actually.
So is one silly and one serious?
Yes.
Which is a silly one? The first one you said?
Fallen Officer Memorial is a silly one. That's where we kind of have a lot of fun. There's just, we have 144 to 150 some golfers there every year.
Okay.
36 teams, 36 to 38 4-person teams. So that's the one that is, kind of more relaxed and chill and a lot more fun for our golfers. But then the serious one is going to be, you got to pay a little bit more money to get in.
Yeah.
It's just going to be like cash prizes, and there's not going to be the mulligans and all that stuff. It's going to be,
like a structured sort of the open. So I get that. So. Okay, well that's a good way for people to sort of donate to the cause.
Yes,
then.
Exactly.
So then you take donations and whatnot, but so essentially what are you using your fundraising money for?
So throughout the year, we run a scholarship program based on quarters, and so throughout the year we get scholarship requests in for kids to play sports or do some sort of activity, or maybe they need to, mom and dad can't afford some sports equipment for them or something like that. We'll step in and kind of take that financial burden off the parents. Same thing with registration fees and stuff like that. And then we have a pool of money for that, but then we also have a pool of money that is to support our our first responders in the community, because our primary mission is to support first responders, especially, you know, their families if they're killed in the line of duty, or them or their families if they're injured in the line of duty. And so our primary mission being that, we do put money aside, you know, just in case we need to fulfill, you know, that mission. But our secondary mission really supports our primary mission, right? So if we can build a positive, you know, interaction, or build some sort of positive memory and bridge that gap between our first responders and our youth in our community, I think in my own personal opinion, we create a better community, which means hopefully we never have to, you know, fulfill our mission, our primary mission.
Right. So, yeah. And you're kind of just coming off like one of your huge events.
Yeah.
And what is that called?
It's called Badges and Kids Christmas.
Okay.
And so it used to be Cops and Kids Christmas.
That's right. Okay.
And we rebranded to Badges and Kids because we ran out of cops. So we invite all badges to come and shop with us. And so, you know, it's kind of a fun night or fun week, I guess, really. But really, that program has grown so much over the last, 7 years that we've done it.
Right.
It's been pretty incredible. We had our biggest year this year with almost 300 kids that we shopped for.
Okay, so like how does it work for people who don't know?
Yeah, so we work with. I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
So when we first started the program, we used to get kids from the homeless coordinator from the Rapid City Area School District.
Okay.
That list, when I first called them, that list was sitting over 400 kids.
When you first started?
When I first started. We got approached to see if we could help out in 2019.
Okay.
2018, I guess. And we... I'm like, well, where do we get the kids? And they said, we work with the homeless coordinator. And I said, okay, cool. So I called the homeless coordinator, and it was like, I send me the kids on the list. And she's like, well, how many do you want? And I said, well, how many do you have? And she said, almost 400.
Was that like mind blowing to me? That's like mind blowing.
It was. I was like,
you're like, wait, what?
I don't have that much money.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So I can't do that. And I felt terrible, right? Like, I'm like, that's a lot of kids that are on that list. And so as the years have gone on, we've formed, relationships with other organizations, in town. And so this year, all of our kids were referred to us. So they came from, referrals from the school district, like the counselor, not the counselors, but the teachers and stuff, in the schools. We also got referrals from like a program called Friends with Haysapa, or Friends of Haysapa. They're an organization we work with, the Boys Club, all these DSS, and, I could name so many. We had, I don't know, probably 9 or 10 different organizations, One Heart, Journey On, all them. We work with our community engagement team with the Rapid City Police Department. They identify a lot of, they work with families every single day.
Sure.
And so they sent us a lot of kids. But yeah, so this year all of those kids were referred to us. And we had, 298 kids that were referred to us this year. Wow. So yeah. Wow. Pretty incredible.
And so then they get paired with a badge.
Yeah. So I have, our coordinator, who is works for the sheriff's office. She literally calls every single family, and her husband identifies all the officers and the first responders that are going to come in. He coordinates all them to come in, and when they get there, they get paired up with a first responder, a firefighter, a law enforcement officer. We've got, I don't know how many, 23, 24 different agencies that come out and shop every night with us. Everyone from the Rapid City Police Department and the, Rapid City Fire Department, all the way up to, we had U.S. Marshals there. We had FBI officer that was there this year.
Okay.
South Dakota Wildland Fire, all those people, come in and help. And so volunteer fire department agencies that come in. So yeah, they come in, they get matched up with this officer, and then, or the first responder, and then they go out and they shop. And when they come back, we pay for everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it's like Christmas gifts.
Yeah. Okay. So we tell them, we don't tell them what they can spend their money on or who they can spend their money on. We just tell them, go out and shop. You know, shop for whoever you want. And
okay.
I would say 99% of the kids shop for everybody but themselves.
Oh.
You give my kid $100 and they're going to go straight to the makeup aisle, straight to the toy aisle.
Right.
And
Or the arcade or something.
Yeah, they're going to buy everything for themselves.
Right.
A lot of these kids buy for, you know, grandma and grandpa or their sisters or, you know, cousins or whatever.
Right.
Whoever's in their family that's important to them, they buy for.
That's so sweet.
We have to we have to talk them into going out and buying something for themselves most of the time.
Isn't that
Hey,
crazy?
you have a little extra. Why don't you go out and get something for yourself? You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I've seen those videos before, right? Where they like sit kids down, and you know, I mean, those videos get me every time.
Yeah,
I'm like, I can't do these videos.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. We've had situations where, you know, one little girl, you know, she spent like $40 of her 100, and we're like, well, you got $60. Go out and, you know, do more. And she's like, no, give it to that girl behind me. She probably needs it more.
Oh my word.
You know, we've had kids that have gone out and, you know, one of the kids went out and bought silverware because the family didn't have silverware in their house.
Oh my goodness.
And, you know, this 6-year-old kid knew that, and so he went out and got silverware.
Isn't that something?
You know, we've had kids buy flowers for mom because she's never received flowers before. You know, just the those kinds of stories that come out of it are pretty incredible, and the impact that makes. You know, one, it's a huge impact for the kid, but two, the impact it makes on our first responders. They get to see, you know, a different side of their community that they don't normally get to see.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, like a law enforcement officer, they're seeing somebody in probably some chaos, some trauma, you know, like all this kind of crazy situation.
Yeah, worst day of their life.
Right.
Is usually when they're in both sides, right? So some of those kids are seeing first responders at the worst time of their life. And our first responders are being put into those situations day in and day out, you know, one after another. So being able to bring everybody together for one night to do that shopping is, to me, is very powerful for both fronts, right? It helps to destigmatize what our first responders are out there doing, but it also, you know, lets our first responders kind of, for lack of better terms, put their shield down and, you know, just be a kid sometimes.
Just kind of have fun.
Yeah, we had a wildland firefighter a couple years ago playing football catch in the
store?
aisle. Yeah, in the aisle in Walmart.
Oh.
And one of the Walmart workers walked by and I said, "You gonna tell him to stop?" He's like, "Nope." It was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so great. Now I see like why you keep doing this. Like, it's very fulfilling.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And I've also heard this before, like to be said of, it kind of bridges that gap a little bit of like, you know, youth seeing like cops as like, oh, you're just out to get people and that kind of thing. And it's like humanizing them more like, oh no, you're here for our good.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the hope. Our hope is to bridge the gap so that they know that that when these people show up to your house, it's because they care. They're serving the community.
Yeah.
You know, but on the flip side of all that, we have an officer that shops with us. He was a shop with a cop kid when he was a kid, and he attributes his career choice to being a cop because of the experience he had. And so we're really trying to, you know, that's ultimately what we're trying to get to, is to identify, you know, these kids that might slip through the cracks or, you know, need that extra little boost of support to say, hey, you know, there's people out there that care about you. And because, I mean, let's face it, all these kids are our next generation.
Yeah.
They're going to be our firefighters and our police officers and teachers and, you know, business owners and doctors and lawyers. So we need to support them. We need to support them in a way that they can grow and thrive so that when they become, you know, the protectors of my generation when I'm older, I want them to be, you know, I want them to be a compassionate human being. And so that's what we're trying to show them.
Yeah, part of society like that. Yeah, and I think what people don't, I mean, maybe you don't realize about, you know, like cops is like most of these people are like, it's a service field. You know, like you are helping people. I mean, yeah, you're protecting, you're doing all these other things, but like at the end of the day, it's like you're helping people very tangibly. Yeah,
I mean, and I think that's it's cliche to say, you know, an officer gets into the job to give back, to serve, right? And I think there's a point in an officer's career where they go, I can't save the world. They go into it thinking they're going to save the world. They get into it a certain amount of time and they go, I can't save the world. And they get a little sinister sometimes. And I mean, I can tell you as a former officer myself, I got to that point. I was a little bit sinister. And, you look at people differently in your community because you've only ever seen that side of people.
Or like the bad sort of.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if we can flip that script for both people involved on either side of that scenario and help them understand that, hey, these are real people that are just out there trying to survive.
Yeah.
Our law enforcement officers are tasked with a really hard job. They're asked to enforce laws that we ask our legislators to create, and then we ask them to enforce them, and then we get upset when they enforce them on us. And so it's a very hard job to do.
It really is.
But again, I think, doing our best to bridge that gap and, like you said, humanize that person.
Right.
And show them that, hey, this is a service that they're providing to our community.
Right, absolutely.
So.
Okay, so I feel like I messed badges for hope. I think I said badges of hope. I think I messed that up. Okay, so is it a thing where like, hey, we're always looking for donations / volunteers? We are,
yeah. So we don't have a lot of volunteer opportunities except for when we have our events going on. So our golf tournaments, we're always looking for volunteers to come out and help with that. And then our shopping event, that's a huge one because we wrap all the gifts.
Oh, wow.
So we always have something on our website around those time frames to get volunteers signed up. But the donation side of the house, so we're not a United Way organization.
Oh, okay.
We don't receive a lot of big donations. We've had donations that have come in that are larger in size, but I think the largest donation we've ever received is probably $4,000 or $5,000.
Okay.
So not huge. It's very
generous.
Very generous. And so what we're really trying to do is we're trying to build that monthly donor base.
Oh, okay.
So it costs us about $120 to take a kid shopping every year. And so we've never had to tell a kid no to put something back.
Oh.
And my goal is to never have to do that. They've heard no enough in their life, and I don't want to be that organization. So for $10 a month, you could sponsor a kid by the end of the year. If you gave $10 a month, it's $120. That's one kid that you've sponsored for our event.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so I always just say, how many coffees can you give up a month?
Yeah.
Can you give up a couple coffees a month to make sure a kid goes Christmas shopping at the end of the year? So that's kind of where we're at. But, so we're always seeking those donations.
Okay.
Like I said, we've got a couple of the different programs, a scholarship program, and then our annual Christmas shopping program. So, donors can go to our website at bhbadgesforhope.org.
Okay.
And click the donate button up in the upper right-hand corner, and they can give a one-time gift or they can give a monthly gift. So.
Okay, wow. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Is that like a sponsor a child? Is that kind of what it's called?
Yeah, sponsor a child, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Okay, and you guys have Facebook? We
do. We have Facebook. We have Instagram.
We do.
And we have a very wonderful person that runs all that for us.
Wow.
I used to do that, and it's too much.
Yeah, that's a lot.
There's a lot. Yeah, I'm a full-time dad. I'm a full-time, I work full-time. I'm in graduate school right now. So,
what?
Yeah.
Okay, wow. What are you in graduate school for?
I'm getting my master's in clinical mental health.
Oh, wow.
So I have a very strong passion about first responder mental health.
Oh, okay.
And so I want to be able to give back in that way. And so my hope is to be able to create a private practice and work with first responders in our community. I also want to work with justice involved individuals because I think that's important as they come out of prison or jail and try to re-enter back into society. There's a lot of hurdles and barriers that they have to achieve to get to where they want to be, and sometimes they're carrying a lot of trauma and baggage with them.
For sure.
So helping them work through that stuff as they start to re-enter into society, I think, is going to be important.
Oh, it's so important.
So I'm a grad student at SDSU right now for clinical mental health. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. How do you do it all?
I get asked that a lot.
Right? You don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do when it's all done. I'm going to be bored.
You're going to have to really meditate.
Yeah.
Just slow that brain down a little bit.
Yep.
Well, that's really cool. I mean, and not to go off like on a tangent about that, but I feel like that's such a need, right? Like people who are incarcerated, like coming out, like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna go back to that thing, or because it's like, how do you have that support and the guideline?
Yeah, I mean, I was a probation officer too, so I spent I spent 5 years in law enforcement, 5 years in probation, and the interesting thing about probation is, people fall into their old habits. I mean,
Right.
you think about, new year, new me, right?
Yeah,
It's
right.
perfect timing. So, I'm going to go to the gym.
Right.
Well, it's easier to fall into your old habits where you're comfortable than it is to change something. And so
Absolutely.
a lot of the folks that I dealt with on probation, it was easy for them to fall back into their old habits.
Yeah.
It's also easy because they don't have the support that a lot of us do have.
Right.
They don't have the
Exactly.
social support. If you think about somebody that's been charged with a felony, nobody really wants to hang out with a felon.
Yeah.
Right?
Or hire them, or,
Yeah,
all
and
this.
so hard to get out of that system when the only thing you have is that system. And so, I want to be able to work with people, and I've gone through a reentry exercise where you show up and they give you a card, and this is the person you are, and these are all the things you have to do. And when you go to a certain table, they give you another task, and if you think about when you get out of jail, you've got to go check in with your parole officer, your probation officer. You've got to find a job. You've got to get to treatment. You've got to get to your UAs. You've got to pay for all that stuff.
Yeah.
How do you do that if you don't have a job?
Right.
How do you find a job if they won't hire a felon?
Right.
How do you get housing if you can't get a house when you're a felon? You can't even get into county housing. So all those hurdles and barriers that they have to overcome, I want to be able to help people with the stress and anxiety that comes with that, and the depression that comes with that. You think about when you're always just hitting a hurdle, you just get depressed, and
then you kind of fall back in the old
easy
ways.
to fall back to your old friends and your old playground. And so being able to give back that way, I think, I think that I'm passionate about that, but I'm passionate about our first responder mental health. I think if I personally feel if we can hit both fronts, we will be building a better community for everybody. Our first responders won't have to deal with the parolees that are coming out that are stressed and depressed, and and again, maybe I have that I'm going to save the world mentality right away. But I think I'm seasoned enough to know that if I just help one person, I've helped enough. So
isn't that like the saying, right? Like, what is it, the starfish or whatever?
Yeah.
Just you kind of got to come back, because I feel like a lot of us are like that. Like they get excited and like I'm going to do all this and help all these people. It's like just one, and then it's like the ripple effect, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer in I want to leave my little piece of the world better than I found it.
Yes.
And so whatever I can do to help leave that a little bit better than when I found it, I'm going to do that. So, and that's kind of the philosophy I have with, Black Hills Baptist for Hope is, if I can help that one kid, maybe that one kid has the cure for cancer.
Right.
Maybe that one kid has the cure for the cure for AIDS. Maybe that one kid's going to be our next governor, or our next mayor, or our next president.
Right.
But if they never get that opportunity to succeed or thrive or be a kid now and learn the things that we all learn as we go through life, we'll never know.
Well, and I feel like a lot of successful people, they will say something like that. Like, it was that one moment where that one teacher did this, or that one person saw me, or, and it's like, that's very impactful.
Yeah. And I'm big into sports, right? Which is why we do our sports scholarships. I'm a big baseball guy. And so, one of the important lessons in baseball is when you strike out or when you miss a ground ball, you can't go back to that play. You can't go back to that at-bat and try to hit the ball again. You can only go to the next at-bat. When the ball goes between your legs and you miss it, you don't get that play back. You got to wait for the next ball to come to you and do better. And so in sports, there are a lot of times where our kids are going to be, it's great to be involved in a sport. It's great to learn the sport, but they're going to be learning lessons for life that they can carry with them the rest of their life. I think that's more important than, going on and being an MLB baseball player. And let's be honest.
It's only a few percent.
Very small percentage that will do that.
Yeah.
You have those kids that have natural raw talent that'll do that. But the further along they get in the sport, the more lessons they learn. They become a better teammate. They become a mentor. They know how to interact with other people. And so that's really important for me.
Yeah, very valuable. Wow, I feel like this is like a lot under this umbrella.
Yeah.
It's like a lot happening.
Yeah.
It's good though.
No.
It's all good stuff.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so people can find you all the socials.
Yep.
And website.
Yep. bhbadgesforhope.org. Yep.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming in today.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. Yeah. All right, you guys. We'll see you next time.